I would like to express my condolences to the Buthelezi family and to the king, to the Christian community whom he served all his life, to the Republic of South Africa, to Africa as a whole, to the entire world, to the occupied space. This man was a special person.
In what sense?
He had gifts that many people do not have. He could think about the future that we have not yet arrived at as we speak. And he could foresee things. I must tell you, I thank God that I have lived during his time. I have known him as the area in Kosi here, where my homestead is. I've also known him when I was a professional serving in the broadcasting industry. I am one of those people who had his whips, and he was an ambidextrous leader who, when he have whipped you, he will make sure how to heal you again.
And Reverend Mbatha, you raised something very, very interesting, because some people tell these stories as if it's a fable, but he genuinely wasn't shy, because he used to walk around with a stick. He wasn't shy to literally whip you if he thought that you were getting out of line. Am I correct to actually suggest that there was even that moment inside the broadcasting studios of the SABC?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think people of my age, and you are not my age, but you seem to know that too. And we had a wonderful experience and a lot of good broadcasting material. And I was personally in charge of the region where that took place at the time. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you, he was a wonderful person. He refused to be contained. You would not draw lines and say, beyond these lines, you can't step over. Yeah. He was the type of a person who believed, and if all people that know him were to do so, he believed that where he was, he needed to create a precedent, and he did not want to do things as others had done them. I just want to make an example. You know, at the height of campaigning politically for votes, one of the persons who was interviewing him, I had told that person which questions to ask, among others. And when asked whether he was a Christian or not, and he bubbled and said, I'm a Christian. All that you see in me, it's because of my faith as a Christian. And he was with another important leader of ours on that program. And they asked that important leader, and I'm not going to talk about him now, and he couldn't answer that question. He kept quiet because he understood that he was going to lose the votes of the non-Christian people by answering that question. But this one, easily he answered, and thereafter he actually was chuckling about the fact that he is a Christian. He was a type of a person that when you thought, hey, I would not want to meet him now, he would go out of his way to get you and to meet you and to say, I know we differed on this and that, but now it's important we should go forward. A constructive leader.
Let me take advantage, Reverend Mbatha, and particularly given that you were a former head of the SABC. The difficult days in the 80s, particularly in the 90s, the massacres that went on. How difficult was it to cover those days, particularly for your reporters?
I must tell you, those days were the days that I wish no one to go through again ever. They were the difficult days because at the time we were broadcasting to all the affected groups, and we had to be fair, and we had to be seen to be putting a norm of behavior, because there wasn't any other broadcaster outside us. So we needed to do things in a way, number one, that we do not take sides. Number two, that we create behavior, we create a norm, a culture of tolerance which had not been experienced before. I must tell you, I am indebted to Mangosuthu Buthelezi in the way in which he respected us, even though he would know that his people would have said they refused to cover our event because they said it does not fall within their editorial code. And he would be the first to say, oh no, I understand why you couldn't cover that. And he would do that with a lot of fairness. He would sue us for mistakes in the editorial room. And he would, one of the ministers is around here today, he would then send me one of his envoys and say, well, no, go and see him and tell him that I still respect him. I wasn't fighting him. I was fighting his institution. And I would complain, that man is around here. I would complain and say, after whipping me so much, he says he wasn't whipping me. I must tell you, I thank God for the time that Buthelezi, Chief Buthelezi, was given the opportunity to lead us in this area and to, as I said, to chart a way and walk where nobody had walked before. You know, of course, his role with the king, and I was myself in politics at the time when the going was not that strong and then not that good. But let me tell you, I was forever amazed at the way he managed his relationships with everybody else so that he would avoid you conceiving him to be your enemy. I know how many people are talking nowadays, especially these days. Let me tell you, whoever is expressing happiness and expressing relief on a day like this is wrong. I say this as a Christian, as a leader, as an adult. This was a gift from God. And it is from God that we learn not to concentrate on other people's mistakes, but on capitalizing on the good that we learned from people. He is one of those who will remain in the map in the world as having led the Zulu people, having led the politics of the country, having contributed to the freedom that Africa, South Africa enjoys today. We may have belonged to our political parties and our groups and our ideologies, but for him, that was not important. What was important, we were human beings.
Reverend Hawu Mbatha, thank you very much for your recollections of Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Thank you, sir.